Hello friends, it is I, not Maria, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about my daily schedule and hopefully maybe help you do something similar that's going to help you either with some sort of like productivity goals that you have or helping you if you have anxiety, like me. Other issues that might cause you to struggle with routine. This is the video that's hopefully going to help you. If you're interested in some nerdy, home stuff, organizational videos, then why don't you consider subscribing to my channel? We have a lot of fun here. But let's just very dramatically pull out my paper and kind of crinkle it a little bit, which to be fair is like single spaced and like isn't even, I didn't even fill it up. But let's talk about schedule. Now, for this and for a lot of these kinds of videos, I see a lack of actual reflection. Like, I've seen a couple of videos that introduce how to do like time blocking and like how to kind of schedule your day and other productivity, whatever. There's not a whole lot of videos that I see that have a lot of consistent reflection. There's kind of like a little bit of reflection at the very beginning, but I think that reflection is something that we should be doing over and over. It should be a recurring action. Like I said, I'm going to be introducing you guys to the process that I used to create my daily schedule. To be able to do that, I have to kind of give you like a why I did all of this in the first place. If you've seen my channel for a little bit, then you know by now, probably, that I deal with some issues, but like who doesn't? Statistically, for people like me with anxiety and difficulties starting things, maybe some motivation issues, maybe some depression, it's me. I've seen that those kind of issues they don't go away, obviously, but like they are helped a little bit to at least do the bare minimum of living when I follow this schedule, or at least I keep it in mind. I'm hopeful that this is helpful for other people, and before I even start to the whole process of this, I really want to make it clear that this isn't for productivity. I hate the idea of productivity. Do I use it in my title sometimes? Yes, because that makes good SEO. But otherwise, I really don't like productivity as an idea. That a lot of times it kind of becomes really toxic and it's kind of a capitalist idea. But even like without that, I don't need to be productive to have value. And I don't know if this is true for you, but for me, that's where a lot of my issues stem from. So how do I even get into any of this? Well, I was talking to my therapist back when I had a therapist about how I always felt like I was never really getting everything that I wanted to do like in a day done. But like I also was doing so much that I every day just kind of felt like extremely tired. Through a conversation of a couple of different sessions, she had me just like write down my priorities. Block out about an hour to do these activities, and then I kind of spent the next few months modifying that schedule, reflecting, modifying, reflecting, and it's helped quite a bit actually. I really want to kind of start from the beginning, right? I'm an educator. I like to break things down to its most basic blocks. That way both you and I can be on the same page of what is expected, and we can kind of work from there. If you would like to follow along, what I want you to do is I want you to write down your priorities, whatever that means to you. And I am going to leave it a little bit open-ended because it allowed me to then reflect on why I chose those things. Now that you've taken some time to write down your priorities, whatever that might be to you, you can maybe take a second and kind of explain like, why are these your priorities? Like, why'd you pick out these as your priorities? Because for me, when I did this activity, actually, you know what? I have my therapy journal back here. Give me a second. This is all going to be something that is individual to you as a person. Some of these priorities could be, but aren't really limited to you. Are you a priority in your own life? Do you view yourself or your relationship with yourself as a priority? Maybe it's not even like that. Maybe you're more looking to grow yourself, right? Or improve yourself. Those could be priorities. What about our partners, our relationships? Not all relationships are romantic. You can have platonic relationships. So what if you're trying to maybe prioritize or make time for some of those moments? What about finding value? I know that for a lot of us in capitalist hellscapes, end up putting a lot of value into our work, but what about finding value in yourself? You are valuable. You as a person are intrinsically valued, and you have value. What about activities that make you happy? Or even just in general, what about your own happiness? Are those priority of yours? What about your job? Or your career? Or your education? Are you working on furthering those? Are you working on maybe switching from one of those careers or that branch of education? Are you working on working up the ladder? Or are you working on kind of expanding your own horizons? Are you working on financial goals to be able to afford to live on your own? Or maybe living with your partner? Or maybe living with your friends? Are you working on building a family? What are your priorities? Now, with all that put together, these are my priorities. This is what I am focusing on while I am building my schedule. Like I said, take some time. Just take 5 minutes and kind of work on that, write that down. Kind of get that instinct. Maybe take a little bit more, reflect. Write it down, come back tomorrow. It all depends on what works for you and what part in your healing journey or just mental health journey or whatever kind of journey you're on. Your career journey, your family journey, whatever. Depends on where you're at. But afterwards, we collaborate to write some things down that happen day to day or some other reoccurring events. And for me at that time, it was just making sure that I ate my 3 meals a day, job, so work, and the cleaning or the amount of chores that I do in a day. That's kind of like this is the minimum amount of things that I have to do in a day. And for you, that could be just as broad. For you, it could include just writing a bunch of things. I can talk about a couple of other systems that I have in place to make cleaning a little bit less daunting. But what are some of those reoccurring events, right? Do you have some sort of social gathering, like a book club, or a religious organization, or maybe like a school club that you go to? Maybe you have a job or multiple jobs, or you have side hustles, which are really just also jobs. Maybe you have internships or volunteer work. Write down all that. I will say though, ever since I finally solidly was eating 3 meals a day and reminding myself to do that, a lot of the other mental health stuff has gotten a little bit easier. So I know it sucks to hear, but I promise you, eating does make you feel better. Because my journey is in finding a lot of value in myself and getting into more things that I enjoy and just kind of being able to find happiness in my life, I wrote down some things that I wanted to do. More frequently, less frequently, but just kind of things that I wanted to be able to have time for. So for me, I wrote down some journaling, some sort of fun activity, and some content creation. So now that you have all that written down, I did some journaling. You're going to notice that a lot of things that I recommend does require journaling, does require quite a bit of writing. But I guess you could do journaling in other ways, right? You could take a voice memo, or you could set up, text to speech, and just kind of talk for a long time. You could record yourself talking, either in video or in audio form. There's a lot of different ways that don't include just writing. I do think that writing things down can be very helpful, at least talking about it. Sometimes it's a little bit scary because it makes it feel like these things are now concrete, but I do think that it helps kind of get it out of your system and kind of help you At least it helps me figure out like what my next steps are. But I journaled about the sentence, I do not need to be productive to have value. I wrote that at the very top of my page. Now I'm not going to include what I actually wrote, because I'm not vulnerable enough for that. That feels like oversharing on the internet. But I wrote that sentence and I just kind of did some free association, some whatever is coming to my head. First thing, first come, that's what I'm writing down. And then when I got that done, when I felt like I had nothing else to say, I wrote down that sentence again. I kind of like left a little bit of space, wrote that sentence. And then I thought about, what do I tend to do? And by that I mean, what do I tend to do when I feel like I need to be productive to have value? And I want you to replace that to be productive to have value. I want you to replace that with whatever it is that your priorities are. Maybe you can do it in a manifesting way, where you say, I want to finish this semester with good grades. After that, I wrote down some positive affirmations. But I make sure to write down some positive affirmations to remind myself. But after all of that thinking and processing, I sat down and I finally wrote down the schedule. Now this part, you can make it as detailed or as open-ended as you need it. For me, I made it fairly, like, in the middle. Started off at whatever time that I normally wake up. For me, that's 7 a.m. And then from there, either in half an hour or 1 hour increments, I went through my day. What do I normally do? Well, I wake up, I get dressed, I go to work, I eat lunch, I do some content creation, I watch a movie, take a shower, I'll go to bed, I play games, whatever. But what I did was I wrote that down. And from there, from that list of reoccurring events and from that list of things that I want to do and my priorities, I blocked out either in half an hour or 1 hour increments what I wanted to get done in a day. I'm going to show a picture of this because this is my schedule from like early in the year, so it does not reflect what I do nowadays. And yeah, this is what I would do if I was kind of like, man, I don't know what to do. I just looked at my schedule and here, I had it ready. But of course it can never be that easy, because after about a week of using it, and that was my video from I think 2 weeks ago now, I reflected on my schedule. I only wrote like a paragraph, but I followed up. I reflected on my schedule. Do I like it? Do I not like it? From there you can make it more or less strict or detailed. I would say do this in about 1 week increments. I know this process is long, whatever. That's kind of the point of it. Your schedule should A, change with what your needs are, and B, reflect your needs. So if you need something more strict in that moment, sure. If you need something less strict, go ahead. But you're basically going to rinse and repeat until kind of forever. I've tried a couple of different options with my schedule, right? I used to have it on my bullet journal, and then I stopped it. It didn't really do anything. And now instead I have it on my phone, and I'm typically not the largest lover of having things on your phone. However, if you want to sponsor me, hey. But it just feels, it's nice because I set up my day. There's kind of like two different things that I do. I have it set up to include the things that I get done like every day. So for that, I have like waking up, getting ready, going to work, having lunch, sending out missing work to students, which I forgot to do. Actually, I couldn't do because I was in a webinar. Dinner, dishes, go to bed. But the pro of having it on my phone means that I get a notification every single time that I need to start something else. So when I need to eat lunch, it sends me a notification. Hey, Bestie, you probably should go eat lunch. I mean, it doesn't actually say it like that, but oh my god, I wish. So I do that. Sometimes I have it set up to kind of break down some of my cleaning tasks. Right now, I really only have dishes because that's a whole nother beast. But like things like sweeping, I typically do every day. Litter box, I have set in my bullet journal. I kind of moved into more of like a dual system. And like even in my daily system, I'll include a couple of pictures of that. But I include stuff like cleaning out the litter box and taking out the trash, right? Trash day, doing the dishes, washing the floors. And it's helped me remember to make the bed, sweep more often, do the dishes more often, but even do a couple of things that I don't tend to do as often, right? Like my monthly cleaning out of the fridge or, washing the kitchen rags. Like I said, there's a lot of different ways you can do that. You can have it physically, you can have it on your phone, you can have it on your computer. If you have the Microsoft suite, I think they have a calendar. You could probably even use Google Calendars or like your iPhone calendar, to be honest. Like, I've seen people do that. That's totally valid to do. You just need to find a system that works for you. And if it doesn't work for you, reflect on why it doesn't work for you, first of all. Second of all, modify it. I don't know. I like I said, I've been using this system since sometime in the spring, so we're like, 2 seasons in? And, I have better and worse days. Sometimes I have to think about it as more of like, these are the minimum things I have to do today. Sometimes I think about it as just kind of like, oh yeah, did I make sure to get this done today? Just depends on how the brain's feeling that day. It especially helps when I'm feeling not so great mentally, and I kind of need something to help me get through my routine. I hope that this video helps for you. If you try it out, please let me know how it goes for you. But I really hope that this helps you. I know that this has been a long process for me, and I know it sucks that this is a long process, but it's been helping me out in the long term, and I just want to provide what I can to help you guys out. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!